Please support the bar by subscribe, and sharing my casts. Follow my social media at Facebook, Instagram, Gab, Parler, BitChute, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, CLOUTHUB, and Rumble, or join my Subscribe Star. Make a donation by clicking on the links on the description box. I am a listener-supported show, so any of the above is greatly appreciated. Help me grow and spread the truth, since the mainstream media obviously does not want to support truth. All links are listed on the description box. God bless you and enjoy.
Welcome to the Speak Uneasy, a safe space where cancel culture does not exist, because we are in a different prohibition era.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Speak Uneasy with your host, the bartender. So today's random read is going to come off the book of AMOS, chapter 5, verses 4 through 15. Seek the Lord and live. For thus said the Lord unto the house of Israel, Seek ye me, and ye shall live. But seek not Bethel, nor enter into Gilgal, and pass not to Beersheba. For Gilgal shall surely go into captivity, and Bethel shall come to naught. Seek the Lord, and ye shall live, lest he break out like fire in the house of Joseph, and devour it, and there be none to quench it in Bethel. Ye who turn judgment to wormwood, and leave off righteousness in the earth. Seek him that maketh the seventh star, and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night. That calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. That strengtheneth the spoiled against the strong, so that the spoiled shall come against the fortress. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they arbor him that speaketh uprightly. For as much therefore as you treading is upon the poor, and ye take from his burdens of wheat, ye have built houses of hewn stone, but ye shall not dwell in them. Ye have planted pleasant vineyards, but ye shall not drink wine of them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just, they take a bride, and they turn aside the poor in the gate from their right. Therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, that ye may live, and so the Lord, the God of hosts, shall be with you, as ye have spoken. Hate the evil, and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that the Lord God of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. Once again, this random read comes from the book of Amos, chapter 5, verses 4 through 15. Seek the Lord and live. Okay, here's my interpretation, or here's what I think the message from God is. This is a very obvious one. God is pretty much, and I've been getting this lately, like God is saying to come to me, right? Are we not living in a time right now of very strange things happening, especially when it comes to evil? I think we should start we should have started preparing a long time ago to start having this relationship with God, coming to God, and instead of being lost into this whole political battle, I honestly think spiritually we have to choose our side at this point. And it's pretty obvious right now spiritually. I mean, if you can't see it, you're choosing not to see it, or you're really that ignorant. There should be no excuses as to what's going on in this world spiritually. It's a very, in my opinion, it's a very easy decision to make, because everything is just so blatant right now, right? Good is bad, bad is good. You have to make a choice. Are you going to walk in the light, or are you going to walk in the darkness? Whose team are you going to be on? Team God or Team Satan? I've made my decision. I know what team I'm going to be on. I've spoken before about wanting to make heaven, just like trying out for a sports team when I was in high school. I want to make the team. Same thing. I want to make it to have Team God, And I know I sound so redundant in saying this, but sometimes redundancy is needed for people to snap out of whatever it is their mind is putting themselves through, and not listening to what I'm trying to say to them. So it's time, people. It really is time. You're either going to walk with God, or you're going to walk on the other side. And I definitely don't want to find out the true strength of God. As much as I know God is capable of doing anything, I don't want to find out what it feels like to be on the opposite end of what God would do to you if you were against him. So once again, that was my random read. So for tonight's cocktail, we will be making the CRANSTON. I got a little history on the cocktail, and this comes from summitsips.com. Article was written back in August 2nd of 2014 by Randy Hansen. Article reads, CRANSTON. One of our favorite go-to cocktails to beat the heat of summer is the mint julep. Nothing quite compares to recipes that employ crushed ice for a frosty glass, and while you sip, the drink gets satisfyingly smoother and colder. Previous features like the Pontellier Julep, the Port Light, or even swizzles like this one or that one are perfect examples. Using our freshly made fermented raspberry syrup, we made this little gem to add to the growing list. The CRANSTON was created by New York bartender Rafa Garcia Febles. Rafa is a prolific cocktail creator and writer of the Drunk Lab blog. In this simple recipe, he takes rye whiskey and mixes it with raspberry syrup. The addition of fresh basil is a revelation we haven't enjoyed since we fell in love with the gin basil smash. Who knew the rye raspberry combination would work so nicely? Like the julep, this is a sipper. The emphasis on the rye which can bite a bit at first, but as the drink cools and dilutes, it becomes more and more refreshing. There's no missing the other flavors either. The basil pairs beautifully with raspberry, adding a luxurious scent to the experience, both from the garnish and through the straw. It's on the sweeter side, which is typical of juleps and old fashions. If that turns you off a bit, we don't think anyone would mind if you added a 1/4 ounce of lemon juice. According to Rafa's notes, you could also add a dash or two of bitters, but we decided to take our medicine straight in order to experience the full flavors of our raspberry syrup. It's a small but potent quantity overall. So get yourself a short tumbler or a silver cup for this drink. We used a wonderful etched water glass that was just the right size and filled it with blended ice snow, which always works nicely. After pouring the cocktail, some of the ice will collapse and more crushed ice to dome up the top and poke a hole for your garnish and straws. It's fun to have another cocktail for the summer that uses fresh seasonal items from the market and or the garden. Cheers. Once again, that article was by summitsips.com, written in August 2nd of 2014 by Randy Hansen. Now, now it's time to make the CRANSTON. So with me, I got some basil leaves and I put it inside the mixing shaker because I don't have my mixing glass yet. My mixing glass came in, but it broke, so I had to get it replaced again. So the first thing we're gonna do is put some basil leaves in there. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use a muddler, and we're gonna muddle the basil leaves in there quite a bit so we can get the oils out of the leaves. So we don't want to pulverize the hell out of the leaves. We want it just enough where the oils are coming out. So I'm not pulverizing, but I am trying to just express oils out of the leaf itself. So I'm doing that. Now next, you can really smell the basil on that one. For my rye whiskey tonight, I'll be using MITCHERS single barreled Kentucky straight rye. And if you guys never had MITCHERS rye, I am not a rye fan, but MITCHERS rye is a pretty good rye whiskey. So we're going to put 2 ounces inside the shaker. And we are going to put a 1/2 ounce of raspberry syrup. Now, if you don't have raspberry syrup, I don't know what to tell you. We're going to go ahead and put 1/2 ounce of raspberry syrup in there. And they say it's optional to use a bitter. So with me, I have mint bitters. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple, like 2 to 3 dashes of that. 2 to 3 dashes of mint bitters. I am going to go ahead and add ice to the shaker. Oh, I can already smell the mint on this. And we are going to stir. We're going to stir this to dilution. And as I'm stirring, I don't have a julep cup, so what I'm doing is I'm using a copper mug, and I already have crushed ice in there. I didn't fill it up to the top because I don't think I have enough CRANSTON juice in my shaker here. I didn't think I made enough to top off the whole Moscow Mule, the copper mug. Not Moscow Mule mug, it's a copper mug. Okay. Give this a little drip on my hand to taste. Interesting. Can't wait to drink this. All right, now we're going to pour into the copper mug. And we're going to go ahead and garnish it with basil leaf as it called for. All right. Well, there it is. The CRANSTON. And try it out. Cheers. Oh, wow. Okay. It's okay. Putting the mint bitters in there made it very interesting. It works well. It works well. If you like mint stuff, it works well. I'm supposed to be sipping this with a straw, but I forgot to put a straw. But yeah, the definitely the raspberry syrup does work well with the rye whiskey, and on top of that, the basil works in well, and the mint gave it like a little pow there. I can see. I mean, even if I didn't put the mint in here, I think this would be a very good drink to have on a hot summer day. Well, there you have it. The CRANSTON. Cheers. And now on to the show. So for today's article, the first article that I found is going to come off of the Federalist.com. I really like this site. It has a lot of good stuff on it. This one was written on May 21st by 2021 by Tristan Justice. And the article reads, new survey shows nearly half of millennials don't know, care, or believe in God. Oh, man, this is very concerning. This is very concerning. I have not read the article yet. And the reason why, I've told you guys before, the reason why I don't read these articles before I even get on air is because I want you guys to, I want you to experience my initial reaction to these. So here we go. The latest survey of the American Worldview Inventory from Arizona Christian University's Cultural Research Center found, 43% of millennials born between 1984 and 2002 said they don't know, care, or believe that God exists. Only 57% said they were Christian. Researchers found that belief declined between generations. 83% of those in the silent generation, born 1927 through 1945, 79% of baby boomers, born 1946 through 1964, and 70% of Generation Xers, which is where I'm at, born in 1965 through 1983, identified as Christian. 31%, 28%, and 27% respectively said they don't know, care, or believe that God exists. Those who believed you treat others as you want them to treat you also rose with age, with 90% of those in the silent generation in agreement, 81% among baby boomers, 53% of Gen Xers, and 48% of millennials. Those who said try to get even with people who have wronged you, on the other hand, decline among older generations. 38% of millennials, 33% of Gen Xers, 12% of baby boomers, and 10% of the silent generation in alignment. The 2021 survey was conducted by interviewing 2,000 adults with a positive or negative 2% margin of error. The report released earlier this month underscores the declining importance of religious faith in American life, as highlighted in pandemic reopenings when politicians prioritize restaurants and tattoo parlors. Yeah, over houses of worship. Yep. Yeah. One church in Nevada, which opted to worship in an open casino while their own building was shut down, was even fined for holding services. Drive-in churchgoers to an Easter service in Louisville were threatened with criminal penalties last year. Once again, this article came from thefederalist.com. It was published on May 21st of 2021, and it was written by Tristan Justice. Now, my take. Yes, this seems to. I agree with this article, and let me explain why. As years have gone by, I've seen this country just lose itself when it comes to having a relationship with God. There was so much decency when I was younger. So much decency. You can even tell with the TV shows nowadays, because it's almost as if they're crossing into like PG-13 rated R status as far as TV shows go now. And there are TV shows out there too that are accessible through like Amazon Prime or Netflix, where you can watch like full-on violence and sex and all sorts of stuff. So the world in general has definitely have been losing God every year that have passed. And yes, I do agree with the statement where the younger the kids are, the more they don't believe in God. And that's a very scary thought. I myself have been through stuff in my life. There were moments where I would pray to God, but my intent for prayer was not how it should be. Meaning, I would be very selfish into praying for things that I want, things for me. And over the years, especially after having to reestablish my relationship with God in 2017, my mind started changing as far as when I pray, I shouldn't be praying for such selfish things. Instead, I pray that I become a better person. I pray that I am able to help other people. I pray that God helps other people, and I pray that it's like I'm being very selfless, And yes, there are things that I ask for as well, but it's not how I used to ask for things that don't really matter. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but I find myself during prayer that I ask for things to improve me, having a better relationship with God, having a more better understanding. I ask Him to present opportunities to me so I can become successful. I don't ask for actual like, God, can you please give me money or this and that. I ask Him, Lord, I understand that you have made us to work and earn for what we have. And I ask the Lord that He presents opportunities to me in a very obvious way, because I've stated before many times that my mind doesn't I'm a very, very simple thinker. Like, I need things to be so obvious to me to figure things out. That's just the way I am. So I ask God that if I know it's wrong for me to ask you for things, but all I'm just asking you, Lord, is you give me the opportunity for things. You give me opportunities and, guide me as to making the right decision, whether I should go for it or not, so I can earn my own keep. And that's the way I view things. And that's how That's how I've grown to figure things out as far as like having a relationship, because having a relationship with God is not a one-way thing. Either way, it's not a one-way thing. It's a back and forth thing. I wouldn't say that there's a compromise, because you don't make compromises with God. It's kind of it's a selfish thing, right? For me, what I've learned is that, I ask for help to improve me as a person. And I pray that everybody who's going through stuff, I pray for other people as well. I may not remember who I pray for. It doesn't matter, because what matters is that I'm praying for those people. A lot of the times I don't even know these people personally. I hear their stories and I just do what's right. And I know it's right because in my heart it feels right. In my mind it feels right. The presence of the Holy Spirit is there. And when the presence of the Holy Spirit is there, it's definitely going to be, it's like a obvious sign of being right. And and also, with the youth out there who choose not to know, care, or believe in God, part of it is parental responsibility. I have a son who is born of this millennial time frame, and I do have deep conversations with him. Now, I don't force him, and the reason why I don't force him is because the same way Jesus and God wants us to come to them is the same way that I talk to my son about. I enlighten my son with what I know about God. And I don't force that upon him, because that's not wrong. That's not accepting God the way you should, which is to give your all. You should be all accepting, right? With my experience, at least, I was willing to give my all to God, because back in 2017, it was I was all into this political theater. I fell hook, line, and sinker, and only because I've been privy to doing research on my own since 2006. And of course, when you start going through that quote red pill moment, or when you start going down the rabbit's hole, you want to know more. You want to know more because you want to know what's going on. You want to be able to share what you know. And when I stumbled upon the whole child sacrifice thing, that's where my journey with God began, because in a human mind, there made absolutely no sense as to why a human being would do that to a child, right? Whether it be killing them, whether it be raping, it just didn't add up to my brain as to why. It didn't add up. And the only thing that added up on my brain was God and the devil. Definitely a spiritual battle. Because at the same time, I think that they're taking these kids' souls as well. They're very vulnerable. They don't necessarily know. I mean, of course they know what's right and what's wrong, generally speaking. But as far as like being suckered into, because they probably suckered a lot of these kids into taking them, because that's what they do, right? They're very conniving. Like they bait them, and it didn't add up in my brain as to why they would do that. And there's a couple reasons why I think that they do that. One, they're not human for sure, right? because humans don't have that very, very predatory thing in their brain, unless there's some kind of mental illness going on. And another thing is that it's the innocence of children. Like how do you take that away from them? The innocence of children is one thing. That's one of the things that makes me smile when I see my daughter laughing and acting like a kid. It makes me smile because I'm able to enjoy. I'm able to spend time with my child and see the laughter and joy and the happiness of her as she is growing. And when I see that smile and laughter, it's because part of it is because of me, and I'm happy to make my own kid happy. So the like taking away innocence of children, like that bugs me. That bugs me a lot. Even as I'm talking about it right now, I'm thinking about like, how can you do that to children? And if you were to explain something like that to people like especially millennials, Gen Z, I don't know where to begin with Gen Z. A lot of people have hope for Gen Z, yes, but I don't know. We're gonna have to see in a few years when they grow up. But the things that I've seen, as far as media goes, having to making these little boys dress as girls, and I don't know, man. It's mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing, and it kind of hurts. It's like child abuse. And another thing too. I know this is kind of off topic as well, but even to see little kids wearing the muzzle, that breaks my heart as well. And to have parents to allow that and remind the child, hey, put your thing on. Like, come on, man. This is not normal. They're children. Let them be kids. Okay? So, that's my take on this article. I really want to hope that Gen Z will be the new generation to change things, but I don't know. And I'm pretty sure that you people don't know for sure. You want to believe that, but the only way we're going to find out is as time passes by. We'll see what happens. I want to have hope. And part of that is because my daughter, she's in Gen Z. And I'm molding her mind in a certain way. I'm teaching her to become a free thinker, and already she's already on board with me as far as those muzzles. She hates wearing those things. I find that she copies me a lot. So when I go to like a store or something, when she sees that I have my muzzle down, she starts putting her muzzle down. She's, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that. So, yeah, that's my take on this first article. We'll get on the next article after I take this break. So I will talk to you guys then. And welcome back from the break. So the next article I have here comes from one of these websites that I like to go to. It's called stupid.news. This article was written on May 22nd of this year by S.D. Wells. Article reads, mask wearers now feel paranoid, angry, confused, and stupid. Yeah, well, you're depriving your brain of oxygen, so what do you think? I don't know. Most Americans who like wearing a mask all day because it makes them feel more secure about not catching COVID also enjoy the control factor. Yeah, I know, I can see that. Where they can hassle the people who aren't wearing a mask by giving them dirty looks or verbal assault. I've had those dirty looks multiple times, especially in the airport. If you've noticed, There's also a blue versus red politics game going on with masks. And that is why most of the blue states are much slower to remove mask mandates. The main problems, however, remain that the masks cause oxygen deprivation. Yeah, that's what I just said. And angst leading to pent-up anger. And we all know most of the Trump haters have that going on big time. Now that mask rules are being lifted by the red states and most big box retailers, even in blue states. There's a new reason for the control freaks to feel paranoid, angry, confused, and yes, dumb when they have to look at all the intelligent and healthy people who aren't wearing masks because we figured out the control scam and flipped the script. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm sorry. I know just reading that wasn't totally funny, but just picturing it in my head, picturing the thing that I just read in my head when I see two people interacting with each other, it's a funny thing. Most of the vaccinated sheeple are and will continue to wear their useless bacteria-laden masks because they've been brainwashed into paranoia and hate. I shouldn't be laughing about this, but you know what? That statement, it reads so true with people who believe, who are gullible to this. And honestly, they deserve every bad thing that they get from doing this. They do. I don't feel sorry for them. They're doing it to themselves. They're blindly following. Oh my gosh, man. Soon, the masks shall all have the Biden regime logo. Anything resembling a swastika or communist sickle would be appropriate, right? Because that's about what is all what. Jeez, come on, man. Because that's about what it all boils down to. Charlie Victor 19 was used as a cover for tens of millions of falsified mail-in ballots to steal the election, right? And there were multiple agendas for that, not just that. By winning all the swing states, the mask was all about communism. I second that statement. And erasing human expression and collaboration so nobody can be an individual or communicate about the most insidious health and politics scam ever besieged on a republic. I so second that. That is exactly what was on my mind. Because I knew the moment. Okay, this is my thought process when this whole thing happened. You know what? Let me finish this article because I don't want to be lost as far as like my thought train. Even though I'm probably gonna forget what I'm about to say, but let me just continue. Now the vaccinated sheeple are even more stupefied and angry than ever, and then confused and powerless. On top of all that, they just can't think or feel properly at all during any part of the day. And now that they can't take it out on the maskless populace because those rules are falling apart day by day everywhere, the mask-wearing libtards are waiting for Fauci, the inventor of Charlie Victor 19, to tell them what to do. And their oxygen-deprived masks are making them lose their minds slowly but surely. Science proves that the use of a simple face mask, including surgical ones, are insufficient in most Charlie Victor safety situations because the Charlie Victor particles are 5 times smaller than the holes in nearly every mask that nearly every libtard American is still wearing, rendering them as worthless at preventing the spread of Charlie Victor, whether from the person wearing the mask or from being transferred to them by others. Vaccinated New Yorkers are still scared to death to take their masks off. Not only are the Charlie Victor 19 masks useless and harmful, so are the vaccines. The virus has already morphed into dozens of variants of the Charlie Victor 19 strain, so the vaccine is absolutely worthless in that regard. Also, since the vaccines cause the human body to create dangerous proteins and prions, those injected sheeple are already experiencing blood clots, paralysis, blindness, deafness, and death. All at staggering numbers that MSM won't publish. Yes, that is true. That is true. Author Jim Rickards tweeted Wednesday, "Masks don't work and never did. States and the CDC no longer require them. But New Yorkers are still wearing masks. A viral crisis is now a mental health crisis. Something predicted in Chapter 5 of my new book. New Yorkers who got the dirty COVID jabs have been authorized by their communist government to ditch the masks, but most of them are not." Yeah, that is true. That's very true. The trick was to get all the non-vaxxers to vax up in order to be able to take off their masks. But the coercion failed miserably. It sure did, because we're not, people that don't wear masks, they're not stupid. Just like vaccine passports will fail miserably also. I agree with that. Let's face it, emotion and trauma will also trump in the news cycle. And that's what the CCP Biden regime brought to their base of already brainwashed sheeple. The pandemic bait worked for them, hook, line, and sinker, but now the tables have turned on the emphatic and dogmatic libtards. And all the health enthusiasts who know that the masks were useless now have the upper hand in function. We can breathe fresh air. We can think. We can see each other's smiles and expressions. We are human again. Yes, we are. We can collaborate and dismantle the hate machine and the pandemic altogether. Don't get caught up in the mayhem and insanity of the fake pandemic. The fake race war, the fake gender war, the fake vaccines that don't stop Charlie Victor, but rather create dementia. Tune your internet frequency to pandemic.news for updates on how to prepare and take care of your body and minds with superfoods, supplements, and whole organic food right now and during the upcoming communist apocalypse. I couldn't even read that last word. Once again, that article came from stupid.news, published on the 22nd of this month of this year by S.D. Wells. You should give them you guys should give them a click sometime. They have a lot of interesting stuff that'll probably make you laugh, some stuff that'll probably make your head shake, whatever. But anyways, as I was trying to elaborate on mid-read of the article, my thought process when this whole thing was starting to go down, and honestly, I'm pretty sure that I got this virus back in 2019 of November, because I was going through I had all the symptoms. I had all of it. I was messed up for about 10 days. But anyways, when this whole thing began, okay, they said that there was a virus, blah, 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 blah. And initial thought was like, okay, this is like another bird flu, another what do you call it? SARS, another Ebola, right? They try to scare you with something. So I said to myself, okay, here we go again. Another thing that's gonna that's going to scare the masses. And right away, like, things started evolving really fast. Wear a muzzle, don't wear a muzzle. And as soon as they started saying, okay, wear a muzzle, I said to myself, oh man, this is all control. This is all control, and it's a symbol of us, like you can't talk. It's symbolic to them, right? I mean, that's the way I saw it initially. And even to this day, I still think that it's all about control. And people have lost their minds as well throughout all this. Fortunately for me, knocking on wood here, okay, I have not encountered somebody. Well, let's just say I have, because I travel a lot, and and when I'm in the airports, my middle finger to the Biden administration is just not to wear my muzzle inside the airport. As far as like after going through TSA, it's my muzzle's down. Even at the gate when I'm waiting, my muzzle's down. And it's a very weird feeling to walk through the airport, walking to your gate, or just walking, and just because one thing I like to do is observe people. I love people watching. It's a very interesting thing to me. I always wonder about people's behaviors. But when I'm walking, a lot of people will give me dirty looks. They'll give me dirty looks, and even though I can't see what's below their nose bridge and their eyes, like even though I can't see their mouth and their cheek expression to me, that people are giving you dirty looks, right? Or another thing, another look that I get also is they're surprised, like, wow, I can't believe that you're actually doing this. It's very rare. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen it before. Maybe it's happened and I haven't seen it, but I have yet to see somebody look at me and just take their muzzle off too. I have yet for that kind of experience. It'd be kind of cool if I started like some kind of trend that way, but I don't see that happening because people are just too afraid. They are too afraid of they're just afraid. They don't want to be they don't want to be how do I say like disobedient to something that's not right, because I don't think that wearing this muzzle is a right thing to do to us. It's an enslavement thing. I'm a deeper thinker as far as that goes. Like people would just say, "Joe, why don't you just wear the thing?" I'm like, "No, dude. I'm not. Who are you to tell me how to live my life? You know?" And I don't know. You know, I'm not trying to go out there and brag and say that I'm doing this, and that. I'm doing it because that's what I actually believe in. You know, I don't believe that these muzzles are doing anything for us, but making us have lack of oxygen in our brain. And also it's a sign of symbolism. It's a symbolism. It's a sign of us not speaking out about anything. And I don't understand why people don't see that. They're too brainwashed into watching the mainstream media and believing everything that they see, as opposed to actually doing some work and researching what's right and what's wrong, right? There's no excuse now. The internet is out there. You have access. For somebody to say that they don't have access is BS. You have access. Most people's phones are smartphones. Most people have laptops. Most people have computer. If you don't, libraries are always accessible. So there's no excuse for not wanting to do your own research. There's no excuse. We have all the resources out there. It's just a matter of you taking the time to actually do it. And it's sad. It's very sad. What's weird? Here's a weird thing about me. I sucked at being a student. Like in high school, I want to say half my high school years, I skipped school. Like I sucked in doing schoolwork, and all that kind of stuff. But as I got older and as I started to go down into the rabbit's hole of what the truth is, man, it's almost a daily thing where I need to find out certain information about stuff. But that's just me. I was very lazy. I was a very lazy student in high school. I hated doing schoolwork. But then again, I went through the public school system. The only motivation I had for high school was sports and chicks. That's it. Sports and chicks, man. I guess any adolescent teen can relate to that. But honestly, right now, it's kind of weird because I don't know. I don't think boys are the same with the high driven testosterone as they used to have. A lot of boys are feminine now. So that's another topic of discussion that maybe we'll talk about some other time. Because right now we're talking about the muzzles, right? The stupidity of the muzzles. And here's another travesty to me. Like, I see people at the airport, and I'm at the airport a lot. 2 days out of the week, I'm in the airport. And the airport is like a hub of seeing a bunch of people. All sorts of people. But I see a lot of them wearing multiple muzzles, and on top of that, a face shield. And wiping down everything that they have encounters with. It's very sad to have to live that way. It really is. God has created us with an immune system, and the only way to build that immune system up is if you expose yourself to certain things, so that your immune system builds up to that to protect you. That protects you, right? And I'm not a medical advisor by any means. I don't have any PhDs. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field. Although I used to work in the medical field. But as far as giving medical advice, nah, that's not I'm not certified for that. But I don't know. I kind of learned a little bit of stuff in health class when I was in high school. When there were some things that stuck in my head, like I learned how building your immune system up is a way of strengthening the immune system. I've learned that, and I remember that. So I don't know. This whole muzzle thing it's all about control, and it really is. And a lot of people have bought into it. And the reason why it's hard for them to let go of that now is because so much of their brain has been destroyed with the lack of oxygen. Guarantee. And I'm going to reiterate that I'm no medical expert, but common sense tells me that if you don't get enough oxygen in your brain, you kill off brain cells. It's kind of the same if you're doing drugs or drinking alcohol. It's the same thing. You destroy them if you abuse yourself. And honestly, if you choose to abuse yourself that way, you probably deserve it because you choose to do that for your own self. Like nobody's telling you to keep that thing on. I mean, they're trying to make it policy and all this stuff, executive orders, but it really is unconstitutional. And there is no medical research out there to verify that these muzzles actually protect you from things. It's all BS. So anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with that tonight. Had a great discussion, especially with the whole millennials don't believe in God as much as as far as the percentage goes, as far as every generation that has passed, it's very concerning. I hope that you listeners out there who have children, or even if you are in the millennial category, it is important that we spread the word of God and we educate the youth about God. Because, there are many, many things here that are unexplainable to the human mind. But when you actually come to the spiritual equation to things, then it starts to make sense. And I honestly believe that they're trying to block God out on purpose, because they don't want us to tap into what we potentially can be as humans. Because I think we are capable of a lot more than what we think we are. When you experience these feelings of the Holy Spirit around you, that is an energetic feeling that comes from within and comes with the spiritual energy. So I'm going to leave you guys with that, and I hope and I pray every day that you guys find that relationship. And if you happen to be in the airport, take those stupid muzzles off. I'm just saying. Anyways, with that being said,
the bar is now closed.
I can't help but wonder if I'm under a spell. It's more than a passing notion. I've never fallen with such devotion. I can't help but wonder if it's only a dream. Am I naive, or can I believe that things are really as they seem? Can anyone explain how to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. to understand what's true. I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder